Good morning, good morning, good morning, B. How's it going?
Great morning, doing well. How you doing, Butterfly?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Can't call it my
Good.
spotlight kind of morning.
Yeah, there we go. It's a little cool out there today. I saw a little
It
frost on the
is.
on
Yes.
the on the rooftops,
Talk about the
but
seasons, huh?
I slept right. I slept like a baby though. I felt great. Feel rested, recovered. Went to bed a little early last night so that I could
Mhm.
wake up prepared for you guys and for me.
Well,
So
all
it's
right,
going
all
good.
right.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome everybody to the 82nd day of the In This Season podcast with your beautiful host, the powerful, dynamic, transformative, inspirational, encouraging butterfly, and her her son, her assistant, if you will. But welcome, guys. Welcome to this show. This is where we go through this book, Motivations, Daily Motivations for African American Success. And every single day we do this. Every single day we go through a quote, a passage, an affirmation. We discuss it. We unravel some of the insights that we see inside of these passages, and we take these affirmations with us throughout the day, and we try to spread this message to other people and inspire people through our own example. So we started this out as a reading just for African Americans, just for Black History Month, excuse me. Um, and it extended well beyond the Black History Month. So thank you again for joining us. Y'all come in through the comments and let us know exactly where where you're calling from and what you're doing. Okay, Instagram is limiting me again, saying we're limiting you for 24 to 48 hours. I guess I pissed them off again. It's okay.
What? What is it?
Ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. It's all good though. We'll be back the next day on Instagram Live. But for everybody,
I
they can
hope
go
your
to
people
YouTube.
know
I
they
let
can
them know
go
they can go
over to
to YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. You can't even do that, right? Because they won't let you post anything.
No, no, it's just the live stream. They'll let me do the other stuff, but it's the live. The it looks like to where
Why don't you post the
limiting me
YouTube?
in some way.
Why don't you post the YouTube link so that they can watch go if those are people who are trying to listen, maybe we should make sure that they know when that happens, when they don't see you, just reiterate it because I don't want people to miss out on their and y'all that's just a that just lets us know we have no control over the things we want to speak on or speak about, like freedom of speech, the world of the free. Really? When you can't, you have to water down what you say because whatever. But we just had a president in office that said everything and anything, right? So it's not what you say, it's who you are, right?
Yeah,
They're going to make me just go back to getting my own platform to where I can stream live like I want. I wish I would have kept it now, but you know,
I know that's right. But you
still
know what
can.
though? It is okay. I'm gonna send this to you one more time to see if something changes. Because sometimes it does. Sometimes it's just a little glitch in the system. But you know what? I ain't worried about it either way.
I
I
doubt it.
will
I doubt. I hope it is. I
want to
don't
go
want a fatal attraction myself, right? But I hope it's just that. But
right, right.
all right.
So I guess we can, if you want to go through the comments and stuff, I'll try to get this back to you.
Yeah, just I want to welcome and say good morning to Miss Brenda. Let's see who else we have out. Brother Mike is out there as well. Good morning to you. We were just discussing that it appears that Brandon is. It appears, so we will say that we'll try again. That Instagram is limiting this live. We're not limiting; they're blocking the live stream. So it is what it is. There are a couple of ways to skin a cat, and trust me, if we need to skin this cat differently, we will. Because I will go back to Roku and get my own live stream so y'all can watch it from Roku. I will go back to that if needed because I don't plan on stopping this. I will not stop it. So hey, I am determined. I'm motivated. I have a desire, and this is one of my goals. So there you have it. So Brandon, go ahead and do your thing while I try to get us back connected.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, if you guys don't know about this book that we read every single day in the morning, this is got titled Daily Motivations for African American Success. And this will help you focus on the thoughts, the attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. A lifetime. Every thought which enters our mind, every word we utter, every deed we perform makes its impression on the innermost fiber of our being. That is a quote from Dennis Kimbro. So that's kind of the premise and why we started doing this and what the usefulness and the value is of this book. If you haven't gotten the book, I think it's a 1993 publication. It's only on Amazon. We don't make a dime from it, but because we read this every day, we do think that it's only right that we support this author for these insights that he's given us. So please not only buy this book, but share this book and give somebody the ability to. On it says
Yeah,
we
I
use
did.
certain activities to protect our community, and then based on your use, this action will be available for you until today, the 22nd of April,
So I
2024.
just I just
Tell us if
redid
we
it.
made a mistake.
Yeah, I just redid it for you. I put it up there, tried to make it go live again, but that's what you got, that same message.
Yep, it doesn't. I don't know if this is a like a glitch or whatever, but because it is today, they said that we're limiting you until today, which I didn't see it yesterday. So um, we'll figure that out. I ain't too worried about it. I will take 1 second though, if you will, Mom, and I'm gonna let my people know on Instagram that
Okay.
we can go to the YouTube. So give
Okay.
me one
So,
second and I'll be right back.
all right. So what I'll do is while we're doing that, y'all, I want to share one thing with you. Um, that I continuously feedback or go to. Let me get out of here. And y'all, thank y'all for y'all's patience, but we want to make sure that everybody that comes to the barbecue gets a plate and that is interested on the way, I'll say, because all things work for us, right? And it's coming to us. So even this, there's a reason that this is happening, so we won't be frustrated about it. We're going to let it do what it do because it is what it is. But what we're not going to do is let it do us and or stop us. So how about that? We're waiting for the glory in this story right here, the moment, what it teaches us, what this time teaches us. So one of the things that continuously help me on a day-to-day basis, right, is don't pick it up. And I don't know what number this is. Don't pick it up so you won't have to put it down, right? And so as I had a moment this morning that I had to say, okay, it is what it is, let it do what it do, but it ain't gonna do you, right? And I had to get myself in a moment. I had to bring myself to this moment and say, okay, this will help me do something um, that I want to do. This will give me some additional means to do something that I want to do without telling the story and telling people's business, right? But I could have picked it up and been in my feelings. And I'm like, no, no, it is what it is. Things like this happen, part of the game, right? So don't pick everything up. Be intentional about, is it necessary that I give into what I'm feeling? Is it necessary? Or do I just go with the flow? Don't fight the stream. Relax. Remember the goals, the desires, and that all things are coming my way, and that all things happen for a reason. And most of them, if we don't pick it up, we won't have to put it down. But if we don't pick it up, we'll recognize and realize that it's just a season. Just a season. And it's not even a whole season. It's a minute season, a second season. Like the one 60-second it. I only have but a minute. 60-second it. Tell your thoughts that. The ones that are not leading you, the ones that lead you to the story that we talked about yesterday, asking for directions. 60-second them thoughts. I'm not lost. I know exactly where I'm going. And I know how to get there because I have a goal, I have a plan, I'm motivated, I have a desire, and I have the ability to think this thing through enough to say, I ain't gonna pick this up. So since I ain't picked it up, I ain't got to put it down. And I said it just like I wanted to say it. So that's my spiel, Brandon. I don't know how we're doing there. Do I need to regroup here and do it again?
I think we'll just skip that part today.
Okay.
We'll have them jump in on another time. But I did put it out on my story, make a quick post about to the end of season podcast on YouTube,
Okay.
and we'll go from there. So while we
Okay.
got the people right here, we're gonna rock with what and who we have.
All right. Let's rock with it. And maybe they remember, that they can go over. So
Right. So on today, y'all, thank y'all. Also, some people have told me that this is a part of their daily routine, and saying hello and being here every year. The fact that this is a part, wake up, they're expecting them, they've been finding value, helping them organize their day to have
mhm,
something to wake up to and to listen to
mhm.
means a lot to me. So, for those of you out there that have done that, I just want you to know that I am grateful, I'm thankful, appreciate you, and please keep rocking with us and spread the good. Okay, so we'll
Okay.
keep bringing. All right, so today is April 22nd. Our title is "The Good Old Days Are Here and Now." The good old days are here and now. And the quote of the day comes from none other than the former heavyweight champion, George, who said, "My kid's idea of a home is to live in a house with only one phone." My kid's idea of a hard life is to live in a house with only one phone. Isn't hearing me okay as far as the Instagram, not the Instagram, but everybody's okay?
You all good over there, Brandon?
I am saying, are you guys able to hear me well?
Yeah. Yeah, on this end, but like you said, it may not be on their end. It's a little choppy from time to time, but it's okay.
Okay.
It's one of those mornings, but we're gonna rock with it, right?
So just want to make sure everybody's good. Y'all let me know. Let us know in the comments. Okay, so the good old days are here. And the quote, "My kid's idea of a hard life is to live in a house with only one phone." So here's the passage. "These are the best of times. As a matter of fact, today is the best of days. Today is the best time to be alive. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but right now. This is the good old day. Every generation has experienced its share of problems. Unfortunately, some people emphasize the negative and forget the positive. For example, 100 years ago, life expectancy was less than 40 years. But today, we are expected to live past 70. Just a few years ago, polio was the scourge of every school age child. Now, at the close of the 20th century, there are less than 100 cases of polio reported throughout the country. A century ago, men wore six shooters. Sanitation was primitive, childbirth was hazardous, and women were not allowed to hold public office. Today, there are more minorities and women in college than ever before. More children of color are becoming doctors, lawyers, teachers, and other professionals. As a matter of fact, 1991, that's a while ago, y'all, for us
I
now,
know. And I was just looking for the date.
right? I think it was published in 93. As a matter of fact, 1991 witnessed more black students receiving doctorate degrees than any previous year and more women holding public office. On par, we are living longer, eating better, and enjoying life more than our predecessors ever dreamed. Although the jury is still out, the 1990s may be tabbed as the greatest decade of the century. You and I are living in a great era. These are the good old days. Make the most of them, since they're the only ones that really matter. And the affirmation that we read three times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that you're going to send this to, or have somebody in your head that you're going to tell this affirmation to today. Give that gift and that value that we give here, that we try to provide here, hopefully we do, give that to someone else. That affirmation is: today I will rejoice in today. Today I will rejoice in today.
Hmm.
Last time, today I will rejoice in today. What do you think about that, Mom? The butterfly.
Um,
What do you think?
Simple, 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 and easy. What I'll say, let me cut this off. So the good old days are here and now. For some reason, it takes me back to yesterday. You can get there from today. You can get there from here,
Mm,
is what it said yesterday. You can get there from here. And the good old days are here and now. Basically, where you are today, if you could just rejoice and be glad in it, no matter what happened yesterday, no matter how you felt yesterday,
mm,
without thinking about what tomorrow will bring,
mm.
right? Without thinking about it. And think about centuries from 20 years from now. What will the people who possibly will read this book based on 1990s, what will they think 20 years forward about the good old days, the good old day being here and now, the good old days, it says. But how can we accept, how can we learn, or how can this be? Let me say that. How can the good old days be here and now?
Mm,
My belief is that if we leave yesterday where it was, bring only what we learned from it, how we grew from it, right?
right.
Take that into this day and make it the good old day so that when you lay down tonight, you are pleased with every thought you took captive, every feeling you did not pick up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being intentional, every emotion that you were able to respond to rather than react to. That you can lay down and say, you know what? I may not have had control of the things that happened. I did have control of myself,
Mm,
how I responded to the things, how I stayed in the moment, rejoicing and continuing to be glad in it, that I'm here, that I've been blessed far more than many. Grace has
mm,
been stored upon me because I'm here. I can comprehend. I can feel some kind of way about this Instagram thing without saying, oh, you know what? This is why we shouldn't do this. No, my thought is this is why I need to up the game. right?
Exactly.
Why
Up
I
the ante,
need
right?
to up the game. This is why I need to practice some more, do some more research so that they can't stop you. They can't stop this. So I'm thankful for it. Thank you, Instagram mom. Yeah, let me do that for you.
There
Right?
you go. There you go.
Yeah, because you can't stop the show. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. So, because this is the good old days. Why? Because I'm rejoicing. I'm glad in everything. Because I know that 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 I know my purpose, who created me, whose I am, and that all things are coming my way.
Mm,
Period.
mm,
Period. I've been shown enough that can't no monkey stop the show. Not a one. Not the CEO, not the Instagram, not the Facebook. I've been shown enough by God that I will open doors for you that you're not at yet.
mm-hmm.
I will close doors for people that they think they have a key to it, the combination to it. So this is the good old days, but not because of anything worldly, outwardly. This is the good old days because we are growing, we are transforming our minds, right? And there's evidence, and I hope you guys are experiencing this too. There's evidence in my life that this is happening.
Yeah.
So the good old days, short and sweet one for me, Brandon. Just be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind and rejoice, rejoice, and be glad in all things. Because if you are a servant, if you see yourself on an assignment and that you are a servant of God through this assignment, you know,
Right.
whom should you fear? What should discourage you? And if it does, let it be just for a minute, 60 seconds. You got no time to simmer there. This is the good old days, y'all. Dukes of Hazzard. Is it Dukes of Hazzard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Those are good old days.
it's the good old days, right? Every day. So over to you, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you. I was sending some communications back to the people that I know on Instagram that want to see the podcast. So I shared the link there. And one of the brothers, Roderick, said, "Dang, yeah, I'm still restricted from going live too." So they doing the same to him. And but it's the truth speakers, right? Um, I was sharing some stuff yesterday about a guy, uh, um, a philosopher that I was studying that was out of Dominique, a country called Dominique, an African descendant guy from Dominique, and I was sharing some stuff. So it might be about him, who's a brilliant guy named France Fanon. But about today, in this daily motivation, saying that today is the good old days are here and now. One of the reasons that I really like this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, is that it gives you a renewed, it gives you tinder for your fire, for your almost eternal fire. It gives you tinder for it every single day. It's our job to feed our fires, whatever that
Mhm,
fire is.
mhm,
And there's something about fire, right? Fire can heat, um, can warm you up. It can heat your food, but a small candle can burn a bridge. You know, that same fire can burn you, right? So I think what we have to do is make sure that we are using fire as a tool, and not letting that fire control or impact us in a negative way. And what do I mean by that? I mean, when you wake up for the day, whatever emotions, whatever things happen in your day, do your best to make that work for you. For you, what is the opportunity? Like my mom said, when the Instagram didn't go live, she said that just motivates me and tells me the direction that I need to go. That just tells me that that reminds me that they can't stop. this show. You see what I'm saying? Where she could have been discouraged, right? Because she knows that today is her day. Today is the only day that you can change your experience. Today is the only day that you can create a memory, right? You can't create a memory of yesterday because it's already happened. You can't create the memory of tomorrow because it's not here yet. But the only thing that you can directly control is yourself in the here and now. Oftentimes we hear about the good old days in this nostalgic way, right? Like, you remember when we had to do this and had to do that, and we almost over romanticize the past. But while we were in the past and when we lived in those good days, we were probably romanticizing about the days prior to that. So when are we perceptionally in our minds gonna catch up to the fact that today is the day that we speak of, right?
Mhm.
When are we gonna catch up? Hmm.
Brandon, what about that one phone thing?
Yeah. So the one, the, right? Like
What
my
about one bathroom? They would lose their mind if they had to do had one bathroom, right?
look,
And had
yeah.
to
I mean,
share a bed with three or four more. You first come, first serve in the beds, man. You better get in where you fit in. You didn't
yeah.
lay this way, you laid this way so that more people could get in.
So everybody could get
Imagine.
in. And remember, and we have our feet hanging off the side
Yes,
so
yes,
that we could all sleep.
yes,
We just needed that little centerpiece. The head be hanging off a
yes,
little bit and the feet
yes,
hanging off
yes.
on a twin bed
Had to
too.
take the baths together so you won't be using up all that water.
Right.
You know,
I'm
y'all
talking
get
about
in there and bathe together.
on the twin bed too. Like, we on the twin bed sitting over there. I remember that. Remember that bed at Grandma Granny's house that was right in front of the TV. All the kids wanted that bed. The little twin bed was
Right,
sitting right in front of the TV.
right.
I wanted the TV side. I
Yeah.
wanted the TV side until it was morning time. Then I wanted the fire side, the side next to the fire,
Next
because
to
we
the
didn't.
fireplace, right.
Yes, I try to get up, use the restroom, and which you remember that restroom. Lord have
Yes.
mercy.
Yeah, one
Um,
restroom, for everybody, and and
and you
and
had to go
though,
through Uncle Bobby's room to get to the
right,
restroom.
that's God bless his soul, and the fact that we, y'all, I don't ever remember needing the bathroom and it wasn't available, and it was so many people in the house, right?
How
Just
many?
so
Yeah, how many
many,
people? How many people were there?
what 13, 12, 13 at least. If everybody
Something
came
like that.
home and was, yeah, kind of in and out at grandma's house, and how much we have today. Like
Man,
we can microwave anything, a meal. You don't We're not cooking as much as they did back then. We're not working as much, and if we are, we're really not because the way the world is today with the ethics of how people work. I mean, I was out yesterday in the field and just I'm like, everybody has to be just, well, not everybody. Most everybody is high. It's like they're not human. Like they don't, there's no way to connect to them. There's no,
mm,
like you talk to them and you feel like you're talking to one of those, dummies in the department store that
the
they dress
mannequins.
up, mannequins. You feel like you were just like, are you really there? You're at work, you clocked in, you're getting paid. Can you comprehend the words that are coming out of my mouth? May I speak to your manager, please? That's all I'm asking. I just need a manager to take care of some business here. And it's just like, even down to the point, one young lady, I said, what is your name? Because I wanted to be able to write down who I talked to and da da da. And it was almost as if, what's my name? Like, should I know the answer to this? It was just dumbfounded. And I was just
Mm,
like, what is happening? What is happening? So maybe the 1990s were the good old days.
for
How do
real.
you feel about today based on the outwardly, based on what we see, what's going on with us? Because the one phone, and the one phone is probably people in this day, if you had one phone and a cell phone, people still would complain. We have microwaves. You can go buy a dinner. There's a restaurants on every corner. Um, People are not really being held to a standard, right?
Yeah.
So, is this the good old days outwardly, right? And I say no, it's not outwardly. And that's why it has to be inwardly. Your good old day has to start here, and you have to be grateful, thankful. if nothing else, you're here.
Yeah.
You're listening to the podcast,
You know what I
right?
thought about, Mom?
What you think about?
Because I was actually talking to my wife about this yesterday. That we have more right now. The majority of us. Now, some of us are struggling, and may God help them and grant them some ease. But the majority of us have right now more at our disposal than the kings of the world did 100 years ago. The kings. 100 years ago, a king couldn't be like, "Give me food from Italy right now." They couldn't be like, "Oh, get me some Chinese food right now." No, they can't. Right now, we can go down the street and get food from just about anywhere in the world, or to the next city over if you live in a more rural area. Just like when we read about in the Quran, when Mary would get fruit that was out of season, right? It can
Mm-hmm.
be December. I bet you can go to Walmart and get you a pineapple, or get you an orange, or get you some collard greens, or whatever. Like collard greens might be a bad example because you can get those in the winter. But what I'm saying is you can get fruit that's out of season right now in modernity, when the kings couldn't do that. A king couldn't get on an airplane and fly across the world. You could do that if you had the resources at your disposal. The possibilities are almost limitless.
Mm-hmm.
But are we happier? Right?
Yes.
So I was speaking to my wife about the fact that the stresses, we have these little micro stresses. And Mom, this is getting to what you were saying, where people are walking around almost in a daze. One, because I think there's just too much information that we are consuming.
Mm-hmm.
We know too much, and we have an analysis paralysis to where we do too little. And it is the distance between what we know and what we can do and control. The distance between those two things is the dissonance that we feel within ourselves, right? We know things that we cannot impact, and they affect us. And or we're stressing by these little micro stresses, like, I don't know, moving 80 miles an hour in a piece of metal down a highway with a whole bunch of other people moving 80 miles an hour down a piece of metal. And we think, oh, this is, no, I'm not stressed at all. Yes, you are. In your subconscious mind, you're thinking, man, I can hit the brakes. That's why we have road rage. When somebody accidentally bumps into you at Walmart in the aisle, you don't go beep 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 beep. You don't trip out on them
Mm-hmm.
like that. Why? Because that didn't risk your life. Somebody cut you off in the highway, man. That just, you could have died, right? You could have hit the median. You could have ran into somebody else, an 18-wheeler. So there are these little micro stresses, right, that add up and accumulate to a huge stress. Whereas, let's say 3,000 years ago, the stresses for people were, how am I going to eat tonight? Am I going to find good
Mm-hmm.
shelter? I hope it rains, or I hope it doesn't rain too much, so that my crops are good and not over flooded, or I don't want to go into famine, like the story we read about the African brother that sat by the river. So all of our stresses might be the same, but every generation has its tests. Every generation has its tribulation. Every generation has its blessings and has its advantages and disadvantages. So don't think that you are somehow that today isn't the good old days. Today is your good old day. This is the day that the Lord has made. So rejoice and be glad in it. Gratitude changes your entire quality of life. You can see the person who lives like an aesthetic, and he is poor, almost
Mm-hmm.
beggarly, is dependent upon other people maybe, but he might be more happy than the richest person in the world. So, and what's the difference between that? Would you rather be rich and unhappy, or poor and I mean just completely fulfilled? Right? It's how we see ourselves inwardly, how we're aware of ourselves. Are you aware of yourself? And if you're really aware of yourself, you know that every blink is a blessing. Every thought is a blessing. The opportunity to breathe is a blessing. Somebody wasn't able to take that next breath because they had a heart attack, or they had an aneurysm, or they had something going on. So every single second that you have is being recreated. When you think about God, for example, Don't think about God as if he's just, oh, I created this and boom, it's just everything's set in motion. No. One of the aspects of God is he is consistently and continually and perpetually creating every single moment. Everything that God has ever created, he is creating again in the next second, in the next moment in time. He's ceaselessly creating you. Every time your heart beats, he created that. The next
Ooh.
heartbeat hasn't been created yet, but God's creating it right now. So everything that you see God as, he's always been, always will be, and always has, and always will be, always is, and always has been. You see what I'm saying? There's a ceaseless creation that's happening. So that's life. That's the living God I believe people speak about, because he's constantly doing. He's not a this God that's sitting back and just watching things, that doesn't have a true concern for our well-being, our guidance, but he's actively involved. So why aren't you? If God knows every plant, every leaf, every hair on your body, every hair on the babies that haven't even been born, who are we to sit and say, oh man, this isn't the good old days? If you're in this day, it is a good day, because it's a day that you can completely change your life. It's a day that you can be grateful. It's a day that you can have compassion, that you can show mercy, that you can glorify your creator, that you can dignify yourself by being a decent human being. So
Mm.
I challenge you to live up to the creation that you are. I challenge you to dignify yourself as a human being, to honor yourself and the creation that you've been given, the ceaseless, perpetual creation that you are. What if every moment you were just created by God again? I was just recreated by God again. I was just created by God again. I'm being created by God again right now. How incredible is that? Now be grateful. And if you count your blessings before you count your curses, you'll never get to your curses, because your blessings are innumerable. Count the hairs on your eyelashes. Count your nostrils, count all your body parts. And that's not even the tip of the iceberg to all the blessings that you have. Right? And once you involve yourself intimately with gratitude, it's really hard to have a bad day. It's really hard to not see the grace, the mercy, the opportunity that's before you, and to focus on those more than the challenges. One part of this that I read was that people focus on the negative. You
Mm.
know,
Yes.
this is the good. Every generation has experienced has experienced its share of problems, like I said earlier. And unfortunately, some people emphasize the negative and forget the positive. But let's flip that today. What if we said today, I'm just going to really focus on the positive? I'll see the negative and I'll deal with that. But that doesn't have to be my focus. So what is your focus? What's your orientation of thought? Everybody talks about there's this big thing about sexual orientation that we've had over the last 10 years. All that's private. To be honest, I don't give a damn about none of that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's all you and what you got going on. But what's your orientation of thoughts? What's your perception? Is your orientation to be negative? Is your orientation to be to withhold? Or is your orientation of thought positive and to be charitable? Did you know, I'll try to wrap parts up with this, that in my faith, being charitable, we don't believe that takes away from your provision. So God has it already, how much you're going to make in your life, how much provision God is going to give you. God already knows how many seeds the bird is going to get today when he wakes up and goes and looks for food, or how many worms that bird is going to dig out of the ground. God already has that set. That bird still has to go try, right? But God already has it set and knows all the potentialities of today based on what that bird does. And if, let's say you're the bird, that bird decides to give a worm to his brother bird, that doesn't take away from the worm that bird is going to get. If that bird was going to get 3 worms today, and he decides to give a worm to his friend, he'll go find another worm to make up his 3, is what I'm saying. So giving charity does not take away from your provision, even though you're tested as if it is. Surely
Mm.
God will test you with poverty, with loss of life, with family, with politics, with your living situation. But these are tests. Tests. If you look at life as your two things, a servant of God, and that servant will be tested.
Period.
Period. Period. So when you're being tested, like, oh, okay, this is my part. This is, my name has been called out. I get to go to the front of the stage and I get to be tested by the creator who is ceaselessly creating me. You feel me?
Brandon,
Like,
when you said that, I felt my heart beat different. Like it was, I noticed it. So what if we went through our day? Because how often do you think about, we take for granted that next beat? Like it's when you said it, like I heard it, I felt it. And we're so consumed through the day. And if we thought about, oh, wow, if you just put your hand on your heart and you can feel it. And when you can feel it, you can hear it. You could do it now. That just changed everything in this moment for me,
hmm,
right? Just to be able to think, oh,
hmm,
that's a heartbeat. That's not just a heartbeat. That's my heartbeat. God just created me again through
yeah,
another heartbeat that I can hear, feel, and that I can choose to rejoice in.
yeah,
Because this is the good old day. This is the good old days for me. And think about how many thoughts we think, you guys, a day. We talked about yesterday, monitor how many words you speak in a
mm,
lifetime per day, and how many of them are just unnecessary. You could spend that time just sitting somewhere along with nature, God, and listening to your heartbeat, and think, what is God doing in this next second, in this next heartbeat? What is He doing for me? What is my mind focused on so that I can't even hear and notice that He gave me another breath to breathe? Because if it stops, we stop, right? But think about that. If the heartbeat stops, we stop. But we rarely think about it through the day, if at all, any.
right.
If you just say, I hear it beating. And I remember as kids, you used to be fascinated to put your hand there and hear somebody's heartbeat. Y'all remember playing? Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hear it. I feel it. So, y'all, this is the good old days. This is, and one day I looked up some lyrics. It says, I wish somebody would have told me, baby, someday these will be the good old days. Someday you will look back at this day and say, I wasted it, or I was grateful for it.
Mm,
All the love you won't forget. So if you want to get to a point that you don't forget all the love that you were given, make sure you're giving love, right? So that
mm,
somebody else will look back and remember all the love you gave to them. It says, and all of these reckless nights you won't regret. All of these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday, soon, your whole life's going to change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
mm,
So,
mm. I have a hadith to read. So the hadiths are the sayings and traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Um, and this is a man who uh, lived in the 7th century, and then he said, "There is a piece of flesh in the body. If it becomes good or reformed or purified, the whole body becomes good. But if it gets spoiled, the whole body gets spoiled. And that piece is the heart."
hmm,
It's the one piece that if it becomes good, the whole body becomes good. And if it becomes spoiled, the whole body becomes spoiled.
and that's the heart.
And that's the heart, or an Arabic qulb, Qulb. And so, and this is both in a physical sense and a metaphorical sense, right? So if your heart is bad, if you have bad cardiovascular health and heart health, you can't do anything. Your blood doesn't pump. The nutrients don't get around to your organs, you know. But if your heart is good, that it pretty much defeats the majority of things in your body. That if your heart is good, that means your health is good. That means your nutrition is good. You know. So let's focus. I think a lot of this, we say a lot of it is mental, right? But what if it has a lot to do with our heart as well? Do you know that there's actually a type of brain cell that is on your heart? Did you know that your heart actually has brain cells? Did you know that, Mom?
You remember? You remember? I don't know what's going on. Remember, we did the show on heart and mind.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's
Yeah, and I have to go back and maybe repost that show, but because it was just a lot of confusion for me about the thought, and I'm thinking more about the proverbs.
mm,
Guard your heart out of because for out of it flows the issues of life, and we don't spend enough time guarding it. We don't even think about it. We don't even think about it.
and how do you guard your heart, right? So actually, I want to give a shout out to my wife for this because, you know, I used to really, really like scary movies. I used to love to watch me a good scary movie. I mean, I'm talking about demons jumping out and scaring, and kids turning their heads around and climbing up walls and this weird, crazy stuff, right? Like I was fascinated by it. Like, wow, this is crazy. Because we have a fascination with the unseen by many of us, right? Um, and I remember about to watch a movie, and my wife was like, "I'm not watching it." She saw the preview. She was like, "Mm-mm, I ain't watching that." At night too, I was like, "What, you scared?" She said, "No, it's not that I'm scared." She's like, "I just don't want that impression on my heart. I don't want to see that." So how do you guard your heart? You guard your heart through your senses. You guard your heart through the that orifices of your eyes that you have. Do you know that there's actually a hole in your eye? In the middle of your eye, there's actually a hole. Like you can actually put something through it, right? Um, in your ears, right? What you smell, what you taste, what you experience, all of these things, the senses are the eyes of the heart, right? So when you see things that are dishonorable, or you see violence, we say trauma, right? Or you said something to me, my mother, God forbid.
We lost him.
I'm back. Okay, I don't know when you lost me,
No, you said my
but
mother, God forbid, and it
I
went
said my
away.
mother, my mother, God forbid. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But someone says something about you that hurts you. That's traumatic. So imagine listening to evil music. Guard your heart. Imagine watching evil things and getting a rise out of it. You're getting a rise out of this evil music talking about murdering everybody, especially black people. Y'all, listen. We got a lot going on in the world right now, and people are talking about rap battles and who's fighting and talking about who and who's dating whose girlfriend, and now they rapping and beefing about it and all this other stuff. If y'all don't know that this is a game, if y'all don't know that these are weapons of mass distraction, if y'all don't know that these people's managers and agents are telling them keep going, inciting them like devils to be um, more and more antagonistic toward each other, while our world around us and our society and our dignity and honor disintegrate. If y'all don't see the weapons that are being used against us with our own elations and the sicknesses of our own hearts to desire this type of information, we desire to see the drama. We desire to see the viral videos where people are getting their head stomped in. We desire to see uh, uh, just how many people died yesterday in Memphis. We desire to see this filth.
Fatal attraction.
What is it about us to where we're incited to desire these things? Is it not a sickness of the heart? Is it not an evil food to fill and to get the bellies of your heart filled with? Now, what can you replace that with? And maybe that's why you don't have the ability to be grateful, because you're filling your heart with poison. You're molesting yourself. So now that we know that we have that power and that ability to change our quality of life and our experience, can we purify that and say, you know what, today, I'm not going to listen to that mess. Today, I'm not gonna watch that murderous movie where people heads getting chopped off. Today, I'm gonna do things that make me better, that purify me. I'm gonna be grateful. Today is the good old day. I ain't seen a good old day where people sitting there watching people get murdered. That ain't a good old day.
Mhm.
Have a good old day, y'all. All right. So we got to get up out of here. It's getting a little late. My mother just sent me. I ain't gonna lie to you. She sent me a message. Brandon, I gotta get off here now.
I got food cooking, man. You know, we got
Oh,
culture day for the babies, so I'm
that is
cooking
right.
food, and it's
Today is
so
cultural day at my kids'
culture,
school today, and
yeah.
so
So
my kids being multi-ethnic, uh, they're having something from the black side of food, something African American black side, something from the Mexican side, indigenous side. We didn't do anything for the Chinese side, but we'll do that sometime too. But it's a cultural day for my kids at their school. So
so I've
my
been up
mom has been so
cooking.
gracious cooking that good food. She got some
So
dressing and some chicken, and you bringing the cranberry sauce
mac
too?
and cheese, yeah,
Mac and
I got it
cheese.
all.
Okay. All
I
right.
got it all.
Cool. Well, thank you, Mama. We're gonna end today in effort to get some of that good food later on today. We're gonna wrap this up. The 82nd day of the end this season podcast. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. The title today was "The Good Old Days Are Here and Now." The good old days are here and now. Are you living your best life? You know, are you making the most of your day today? And our quote was from George Foreman, who said, "My kid's idea of a hard life is to live in a house with only one phone." And this was in the 90s, you know, to live with only one phone. And our affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that you're going to send this to, one that you carry with you throughout this entire day. You wear it like a banner on your heart. You know, think about it. Think about you got this affirmation on your shirt today. Almost can't get away from it. This affirmation today is: today I
Dang.
will rejoice in today. Today I will rejoice in today.
Mm.
Just for being here, I will rejoice today about today. There's nothing else that needs to happen today for me to rejoice in. Nothing else needs to happen.
Mm.
But in the case that nothing needed to happen, everything is still happening. The sun is still rising. The wind is still blowing.
Your heart is still beating. Touch it, feel it,
You
hear
feel me?
it.
Now do something with that power. Okay, guys,
Mm.
go out there, be great today, and tell somebody, today, the good old days are here and now. Just go out there and tell them that title. Today
Rejoice
is
and
a
be
good old
glad
day.
in it.
It's a good old day. Maybe that's a new thing. Hey, it's a good old day.
Okay.
All right. So I love y'all so much. We're going to get up out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 a.m. Central Time on the End of Season podcast. Tune in on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, if they stop tripping, and YouTube, um, to catch us every single day. We appreciate you guys,
Yes, we
and
do.
we will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Y'all take care. Peace.
Peace.